Welcome to another episode of In the Crosshairs, brought to you by Line Sniper, your definitive resource for sports betting content and in-game analysis. I, of course, am Ken Barkley, a.k.a. Locky Lockerson, your host for the next few segments as we go over college basketball, NBA, maybe a little golf at the end of the segment, too. We're going to start, obviously, with championship week, one of the busiest times of the year. And who better to break down the games than Andy Molitor, Andy MSFW on Twitter, Andy, our college basketball expert here at Line Sniper. Andy, how we doing? Ready to break down some games?
Yeah, bittersweet time of year. Lots of exciting action, but not such big slates. Still some edges out there, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, people always have a lot of interest in betting championship week. I'm not sure they realize it's like 1/4 of the games you would get on a Saturday, 1/3 of the games you would get on a Saturday. And, the pickings can be a little slim sometimes. And again, we've seen these teams forever. Sometimes we know what the margins are between them. I know you have a major conference game, a power conference game that you're interested in talking about first, I believe in the ACC. What do we got there?
Yeah, ACC tournament going to be starting down in Greensboro. It actually started yesterday, but I'm going to be interested in Boston College plus 9.5. I took that overnight. There are some 9.5 still out there. It's widely available at 9. This was one that popped right off the board, even when I adjusted for the neutral site. Notre Dame, a little lousy fare on the offensive rebounds, even though they have a stud player in John Mooney. He actually leads the league, I think, in rebounding, pretty high up in nationally. But overall, as a team, offensive rebounding, it just sucks. If the shots aren't falling, things aren't going to go well. BC actually has a pretty decent defense. The offenses, obviously Notre Dame's a lot better offensively, but 9.5 is just going to be way too much in a neutral here for two teams that are pretty much on par defensively.
Okay, so we were looking at Boston College. I think I heard you made that game. You made that 6.5, right? So still a little bit of room there to come down.
Yep, I did make that fair number 6.5. So even if it does come down, I know it's sitting at 9 in a lot of places. I think there's a little bit of wiggle room still in there.
Okay, so Boston College, Andy's first pick. Andy, I know if anyone is the king of the no-name conferences, the conferences we've never heard of, we couldn't pick the schools out on a map or tell you anything about them. It's you, and I think you have a pick from one of those conferences also today that you're interested in. What is it?
Yeah, it's the exact same game that I almost bet last week. Lamar at McNeese. They played in the finale of the Southland regular season. And I almost made a play, but I didn't like some of the situational stuff. And as it lined up in the conference tournament, they play each other right away again. Like you said, this is a small conference. Not a lot of people maybe know a ton about the Southland and the fact that this is like a super big rivalry game as they're like 60 miles apart across the Texas-Louisiana border. It's called the Battle for the Border. It's one of those things they keep track of the record. So I'm very interested in taking Lamar. I took him overnight at +1. There was no money line for me to find. It has been steamed up to 1.5, minus 1.5, -2 at some places. I make the fair number a shade over -3. So like I said, with the BC pick, still a little bit of wiggle room. I lost some value overnight, but them's the breaks with some of these small conferences. And I mean, they played tight both games. Lamar, it took them, it was a 4-point play at the buzzer to lose the game to McNeese State in that finale. They shot 30% from the field. They're a better team than that. They should be favored, like I said, by 3. And I think they can get this done, especially in a neutral site over in Texas.
Okay, so we got Boston College, we got Lamar in a much less known conference out there. Andy, I know you bet a lot of futures for some of the other smaller conferences. There are prices everywhere that kind of vary wildly. Give me like your favorite price that you're kind of honing in on for a tournament that starts tonight?
Yeah, a lot of conference tournaments starting today, just like every day. But something I honed in on was in Conference USA. Right away, I pulled up my numbers. I made the top 3 teams very close in power rankings. I went down to the prices, and North Texas, Louisiana Tech, right around 2-1. But I found Western Kentucky, the 3rd seed there, at +450. And honestly, they ranked out just as high as the other 2 teams. They have a little tougher path as they probably will have to play both those top teams, but they did sweep Louisiana Tech this season. That would be their semifinal opponent in the Conference USA tournament. Everything on a neutral site, as a lot of these are. I think 450 is a little too much for them to take down a couple teams that they're perfectly capable of getting it done with.
Okay, so we got Boston College and Lamar in terms of the sides, and then we've got Western Kentucky in terms of the future. Andy, with a smorgasbord of college basketball picks here on a Wednesday. You would expect nothing less during championship week. And when we come back, Again, same thing we do every week, right? We give our analysts $500. They get to spend it however they want on bets today and the college basketball board, or really any sport they want to go to. How is Andy going to spend his $500? We're going to find out coming back. Line Sniper in the Crosshairs, Andy and Locky on a Wednesday.